Greetings, I'm Eddie G, DM Fumble, and this is Fumbling Around. This week I want to talk about stealing. When I was a wee little DM, all those many moons ago, many moons ago, seriously, I don't want to think about how many moons it's been. Where was I? Yeah, those many moons ago. I wanted to create all the details for my campaigns and adventures. Even in a world like Dragonlance, especially when I first started running games in that setting, there wasn't a lot of details. Again, that many moons thing. So I created a lot of things from scratch. And while I still love creating new things or modding stuff for my campaigns, as I get older, I see the value of standing on the shoulders of the greats before me, aka stealing their stuff. And when it comes to stealing or borrowing or looking for inspiration, if you want to be less criminal about it, there are no better places to look than outside your current game system. So if you're running D&D 5e like me, be willing to look at past editions, or even other fantasy-related games. Or if you have access, look at games well outside the fantasy space, like superhero games or modern horror games. For today, I'm going to focus on 3 times I recently borrowed from past editions of D&D for my current campaigns to see how it will cut down on my prep time. As I mentioned recently, I just started running Shadow the Dragon Queen, and early on, the heroes are in a small village during a festival. The adventure itself only offers one festival game, a fishing contest, and while I like it, I wanted to offer my players some alternatives. Luckily, my Beatles and Grimm souped-up version of the module offers a few more games. Again, some of the great hidden value in their box sets is the bonus content. Thinking about other festival games, I remembered an old first edition D&D Dungeon Magazine issue featuring a dice game called Spottle, involving dice and a dice-hungry frog. If you remember the game Spottle or the adventure, please put a comment below and let me know. Here's a bonus tip. If you have the space, don't throw away old edition stuff, especially modules, and especially Dungeon Magazine. I'm going to do a whole video on the value of that long-lamented publication sometime in the future. With Spottle and a few other dice games, I could have something ready for gambler-type characters without having to make anything up on the spot. Another game I wanted for the festival was a simple archery contest. That's when I remembered an old 3.5 product I had, Tournaments, Fairs, and Taverns. There's a link for that in the doobly-doo below. Okay, I don't think I feel comfortable enough using Matt's term. Maybe if I had more followers. Hey, that's a great segue. So remember, if you like the content on this channel, please consider hitting that like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and really helps YouTube consider who to suggest this content out to. Again, back to stealing. Okay, inspiring yourself. In that Tournaments and Fairs 3.5 edition D&D book, there's great value. There's dozens of mini games you can use easily in any kind of festival like mage duels or in a tavern setting like dagger throwing. The archery rules were clear and easy to follow and quickly adaptable to 5e. Though I might have upped the DCs for the targets a bit, my second level characters were crushing their target shots. But the players and characters were having fun and forming friendships with the various NPCs in the village. And that's something that pays dividends later on in the game. Lastly, I want to look at some things I routinely steal from 4e. Yes, 4th edition. I know it has a love-hate relationship with most fans, meaning most fans love to hate this edition. And while I'm certainly not its biggest supporter, it's one of the few that I've only ever DM'd 1 or 2 one-shots with. But the rule set has some great rules concepts that can easily be stolen, okay, borrowed, like your neighbor's tools. Seriously, give them back. You'll feel better about yourself. The 2 4E rules and concepts I like to use in my 5e games are Bloodied and Skill Challenges. If you don't remember, Bloodied is when a monster or NPC is at or below 50% hit points. In 4e, this would often lead to something new happening in combat, like a reaction attack or some kind of new bonus action, whatever you can think of. And I'm not the only person carrying this concept into 5e. It's a whole series of books on the DM's Guild called Bloodied and Bruised by Anne Gregerson. Hope I'm getting the name correctly. Those books add new abilities to every published WotC creature when they're at or below half hit points. Check out the link to the full bundle in the link below. In my games, I don't just limit myself to 50% or below hit points. Sometimes it's first blood, or a certain damage type, like fiends taking radiant damage. You can get really creative in this space here to help liven up combats, especially in the back half, where it sometimes turns into an attrition slog. The other concept I leverage highly from 4E is skill challenges. Quick refresher, the group has to achieve a certain number of successes, usually 6, before a certain number of failures, usually 3. Both those numbers can slide based on situational details. I love skill challenges for so many reasons. 1, it doesn't limit the result of an action just down to a single die roll. 2, it lets each party member contribute to the success of a situation, instead of sitting around watching that one skill monkey do all the work and get all the attention. 3, I usually allow a broad range of skills or even ability checks if the player has a good rationale. And if it's a really good explanation, I often give advantage on that roll. Lastly, it allows for an easy way to incorporate the fail-forward concept from other game systems. Even if the party fails the challenge, it doesn't stop them. It just means something later in the adventure will be a little bit harder. Like they get through a collapsed mine shaft, but it takes so long the kobolds have time to reinforce their positions, add extra traps or monsters to the next combat. So there you have it. Some ways you can steal from past editions. Now go out there and steal some stuff and play some D&D. Cheers. Okay, thanks for making it to the end. YouTube really likes that. And you know what else they really like? When you share the video. So if you know someone who would like this or any of my content, please share them a link. As you may notice, I don't have a Patreon or a tip jar. So if you're in a position to help the channel financially, consider heading over to my DMs Guild page. You know where the link is. And maybe picking up one of my low-cost products. It helps me out, and you get a solid gaming product in return. I already said cheers, so until next time.